Well, hello, 你好. Welcome back to Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger. The date is June 17, 2020, week number 16 of the coronavirus, staying at home, social distancing, all that good stuff. Last episode, we talked about the importance of money in Chinese culture. So today I want to start by building on that and tell you a little behavior of Chinese people when they meet with their friends or meet someone for the first time. This behavior sometimes can be interpreted as being rather rude and obnoxious, but that's only because we don't understand their culture. We don't realize that there's no rudeness intended. When you go out with your Chinese friend and you go to their family to have dinner with their family, quite often you will hear them inquire about, oh, how much money do you make a month? What do you do for work? How much do you pay for rent? How much do you spend on grocery? Oh, grocery is so expensive. And how much do you spend on that jacket you wear? That looks like a really nice jacket. And so on and on. And for those of us who are not used to that, it can come across as that's really rude. It's not your business. Now here's the thing, because money is such a big thing in the Chinese culture, people from that culture automatically assume that everyone feel happy when you talk about money, that it is a good topic. So for them, asking you about your money, your financial situation, is as acceptable, as positive, as inquiring about your health, or how you are doing at school, or how are your parents doing, and so on and so on. There's no nosiness, no prying intended. In fact, most of the time they are not even looking for a detailed answer. Now, don't feel that just because they ask, and you need to uh, give them your entire month's budget. Uh, no, when we go and ask someone, "Hey, how are you doing today?" Most of us do not intend for that to be a serious, detailed question. So when I say, hey, how are you doing today? I'm not expecting, and I don't really wish to hear you say, oh, I was feeling kind of crummy this morning and I got in the shower and no hot water, but that's okay. The shower is still good. You don't need hot water every day. But when I got out of the shower, I realized I was out of coffee. So I went to Starbucks and I had to stand in a line for 20 minutes and they gave me the wrong coffee. Like, I don't need you to give me a rundown of your day, of everything that went wrong in your day, just because I asked you, hey, how are you doing today? Uh, that actually happened to me once. I walked into the martial arts studio, and my friend Brian, he asked me, "Hey, how are you today?" And I started telling him how I was actually feeling that day, and he cut me off. Brian, he said, "Look, when I asked you that, just a fine will suffice. I don't need to hear your life story." When Chinese people inquire about your finance, that is the same thing. They're not really looking for a detailed answer. They don't need your actual income down to the decimals. They are just using that as a pleasant conversation starter. So when they ask you that awkward question about how much you make a month, rather than getting offended and say it's not your business, because for you to say it's not your business in this context would be like if I come up to you and say, hey, how are you doing today? And then you turn to me and say, it's not your business. Well, now you are the one who's rude. Now I don't understand why you are being rude. So rather than getting offended and say something snappy, uh, just generalize. Say something like, not a lot. I wish I was making more, but nah, everything is so expensive, so I wish I get a better job. You can just let it glide past like that. You can just cover it over, smooth it over like that. Same thing with they ask you, how much do you pay for your rent? Too much. You just it's not a very nice place. I wish I had a better place, but yeah, this is so expensive. Uh, so for most circumstances, most situations, that is going to suffice, and the conversation can move on without either side getting offended. Now, one exception is if you have a girlfriend or if you have a boyfriend and you go to their house to meet their parents for the first time, then when they ask you these questions, that is very serious. They are actually looking for answers, and by failing to provide such an answer, you may set yourself up for failure in your upcoming relationship. Because since Chinese people link success with the ability to generate and distribute money, they feel that if my son or if my daughter was to be with you, then I need to know that you are going to be good to them. And for a lot of traditionalist family, your ability to support them and feed them and give them luxury is what they're looking for. This is also why in Chinese weddings, it is customary for the groom to be, for the husband to be, to give a hefty gift in cash to the parents. That sounds a little bit like human trafficking, I know, but again, they don't really want it for the money's sake. They want it so they have proof that you are a generous person and you can uh, support their daughter. So their daughter is not going to marry into poverty and have to suffer and stuff like that. Now, there's a lot more interesting and very, very different, sometimes very awkward customs in Chinese culture. Another one, this one I still have problem dealing with myself sometimes, is their uh, propensity to tell you you're fat. Now, if I was to walk up to most people here in North America and I say, hey, you're fat, well, I probably get punched out really often. But in Chinese culture, that is actually an acceptable form of greeting because Chinese people do not see fat as being bad. They see fat as being positive. If you're fat, that means you have a lot of food. If you have a lot of food, that means you have a lot of money to buy those food with. If you have a lot of money, that means you're successful. Fat is also linked to healthy appetite. If you have healthy appetite, that means you have a healthy body. If you have a healthy body, that means you can uh, raise a lot of healthy children. So in the Chinese culture, fat is not always meant as a negative thing. In fact, when Chinese friends get together, Chinese families get together after being apart for a while, quite often they will say things like, "Whoa, you look good, you look good. Oh, you get fatter. You're fatter. You're fat. That's good. That's good." Every time that happens to me, I just feel so awkward. Because of course, as me, I'm working out and training in martial art all the time, so I take my body shape very seriously and having them tell me that I'm fat, even though I know it's meant to be a compliment, I still want to tear their heads off. Polar opposite to that, if you lose weight, they're going to tell you it's bad. Oh, you look like you lost weight. What's wrong with you? Are you sick? You're not eating. So in Chinese culture, being slender and being lean and being skinny is usually associated as being sick, having some kind of disease, being depressed, or just outright being poor. So some people are going to ask, so what do Chinese people think of muscular people? Well, that one is really, really sad, and I have a personal story to tell you. When I was a teenager, me and my younger brother both worked for my father's traveling agency. And one of the things that we like to do was when the tourists arrived from Taiwan or from China, me and my younger brother would be there to greet them. We would be there to help them with luggages and direct them, tell them where to go and stuff like that. So this one time, we were picking up a group from Taiwan at the airport, and I noticed that none of them was coming to me for help. And my younger brother, he was just getting swamped with work. And at first, I thought it was because I was blind. So I went up to the tourist, our customers. I said, hey, if you guys need help, I can help you with answers and luggages and help you get sorted out over here. And one of the old grandmothers actually turned to me and she said point blank to my face, "We don't want your help. You look muscular. You're too much muscle. You look like a bad person. Your brother is clean and he's not muscular. He looks like a good person." So in Chinese culture, there's something going on that if you look muscular, if you look a little bit tanned or dark, uh, and if you look too big in general, then unless you're fat, if you're not fat, it's okay. But if you are just muscular, then they perceive that as you're being a threatening person. Obviously, you're that muscular because you use your muscle for bad purposes. Yeah, otherwise, if you're a good, decent human being, why would you need that many muscles? Very, very weird, very strange culture. But by understanding some of these things, it will help us cut down on the amount of conflict we may get into in the future. Thank you for checking out today's Wisdom Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow for Toy Thursday. For now, have a good night, 晚安, and 再见.